Hi friends, Boundless Divine here, artist, organizer, and spiritually based mental health advocate, and this is Divine Time. Alrighty, please like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that being said, we're gonna get into the topic for today, which is your hiding is hurting you. And in this episode, we're gonna be talking about a recent full circle experience that I just had that was as a result of exposure to a trigger, why we shouldn't be afraid of being triggered, healthy versus unhealthy coping mechanisms, and of course, a journaling prompt. And I love this one. It just came to me while I was planning this episode, and it's really creative. So I'm excited to share it with y'all. So stay tuned. Okay, so this recent full circle moment. Y'all, like, I'm very big, very heavy on the everything is happening for me and everything's happening for a reason. And so, like, even some of the more unsavory things I might have done in my past, I don't really have a lot of regrets or shames. But there was like one situation in particular in which, when I was hurting, when I was going through a huge transitional phase, I kind of fumbled a little bit with a certain person I was talking to at the time. And that became like really, like, I think maybe my only regret or one of very few. And so for a while, I was like, I cannot see this person. Like, I never wanted to see them, talk to them or anything because I was embarrassed. And, yeah, I talk about all the time. I'm a Libra moon and rising. So I really, it's my, how I come off is like, I don't like not being liked. And it's something I'm getting out of as I mature. But yeah, it was really embarrassing. So I was not ready to see him. Anytime that like I could potentially run into him, I was like, nope, not happening. I would avoid it at all costs. And then, like, as I'm praying and praying for healing and just in general, right? Like, eventually it started to have this feeling like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to see him and I'll just explain where I was coming from. I'd be ready to apologize, like, just I was ready to be ready, right? And then finally I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm ready to see him. And so I was expecting that it was going to be in a social setting, like, how we met. But no, it happened in a very professional setting. It was like a new opportunity that I was going to be working in, and he was there. And it was so funny because like I was like, okay, like I'm gonna do this. And I was so scared. Like, y'all, when I tell you, I really, like, I did everything I could to avoid this person for over a year. And so then it's like, all right, I'm gonna see you, but at work. Damn. And so, we had come in for the little thingy. So my jacket was on a chair and I got up and did a name tag, and he walked in as I was getting up. And then lo and behold, there wasn't even a seat next to me. Like, there wasn't a seat next to me. I was already sitting by someone, but he happened to have known that person. And so he pulled up a chair and sat in between me and the person, didn't know it was me. And so I had to walk back to my stuff. But it was wild though, because like I told y'all, it used to be really important for me to be liked. But something that my pastor said recently is just like, if people are necessary for you to complete your assignment, then God will put favor on your name for them. And if not, it doesn't matter. And so I'm walking over there with like this calm and peace that is like really new to me and something I'm really grateful for, because I'm like, the old me would have been bugging out, but this me, I walked to my seat calmly. And I ended up sitting right next to this person, and I was like ready to not say anything because I don't even know what to expect. Like, it was funny, but he says hi to me and I say hi, and so I'm like, okay, bet we're on friendly terms. But he continued to have conversations with me, and it was super friendly, and like I left with some gems that I really needed. And actually, like, he spoke something into me that has, and anyway, I don't even have to go there, but he could have sat anywhere in the space. Like, he could have been across from me in the room, and I could have maybe avoided eye contact or whatever and thought whatever, made assumptions about him not liking me. But like, God, the universe, my ancestors, the divine loves me so much that they put me right next to the thing that I was afraid of, because they're like, no, we want you to get past this. And I'm sharing all of this to say, like, we could think that we're that we're being safe by hiding from the things that scare us, but like actually, you know, there's some things that you have to face head on in order to overcome. And it was after leaving that situation with him that I was like, wow, I was like really afraid of this, but if I can get over that, I can do anything. And that's how the universe works. Like that's how it works. If you have your full chart and you see Saturn, that is the essence of Saturn in your chart. Is like it's the father planet. It's the, I'm going to test you in this area, and it's going to be so stressful and hurtful and painful sometimes, and you're not going to like it, but at the end of the day, that's going to make it your strength. And it's like, as me going from someone who used to be very easily embarrassed or whatever, and being in a position like that, and I was like, okay, like I could show up at more places, this is fine, I survived it. And so I really wanted to share that full circle moment with y'all. And so, you know, recently I saw this video online, and it was this monk guy, and he was talking about, you know, if you want something, don't pull it. And if you don't want something to happen, don't push it. Because what happens when you pull something towards you, momentum, it swings back. And when you push something away, momentum, it swings closer to you. And so that is something that I want to like dive deeper into here with y'all in terms of like shadow work, right? So y'all know I say at the beginning of every single episode, I am a spiritually based mental health advocate. I advocate for mental health. That being said, I know it's so important for us to have safe spaces, and I'm an advocate for safe spaces, and I'm an advocate for justice, and all this other stuff. But that being said, I think that we shouldn't expect the world to always accommodate us and our triggers, and also we shouldn't want the world to always accommodate us and our triggers, because that doesn't allow us to grow and be stronger. Now, I'm not saying that to say that, like, you know, like, so, okay, we have the right to assert boundaries. We have the responsibility to assert boundaries. Boundaries is a form of self-love and self-care, right? But you can't expect that people will always know what your triggers are, you know? So like, for example, for me, one of my triggers is like, I don't like being yelled at. I don't think anybody likes being yelled at, but for me, it's like, in the past, I would have shut down, or I would have act up, and like, you yell at me, bet like I'll like all the niceness or whatever, like I would just, yeah, I could put it right back, but that wasn't healthy nor productive. And so now I'm like very clear with people, like whether we get into friendships or relationships or family, I'm like, do not yell at me. And lo and behold, like there has been a situation or situations in which someone would yell at me. And, you know, whereas before I would have shut down or reacted or got whatever, I had to do the healing work within myself, learn how to get centered in myself, and knowing that sometimes I just had to walk away. You know, I can say, don't yell at me, which I did, but that person still yelled at me. And I could get so mad and be like, they're supposed to understand that I'm triggered. They're supposed to know everything that I've been through. But it's like, no, like at the end of the day, like everybody heals and goes through everything on their own time and their own karma. And I had to walk away for my own sense of self-care. You know what I mean? And so that was something that made me stronger. No, do I want to be yelled at? No. But the thing is, like, there have been situations since then, and I've seen that has just gotten easier and easier for me to stand up for myself. Like, you know, before, when someone would like say something, kind of call me out my name, I would just accept that, and I would internalize that and be like, oh my goodness, I'm these negative things that this person said about me. But now I'm like, no, that's a reflection of your experience of me. And it's like, if you and I don't see me the same way, if you and I don't value me the same way, then we don't got to be in the same space together. And so I'm saying we should embrace our triggers, not to say that like we should just like, that we shouldn't care about how we're feeling. I'm saying that to say that we shouldn't hide from how we're feeling, and that we should just embrace those things, because it's all part of like developing emotional intelligence, right? Like there are grown people, like many decades older than me, older than, I don't know how old y'all are. Hey, multi-generational friends. But like there are grown folk, like grandparent age, who like don't know how to manage their anger. You know, just because someone is a certain age doesn't mean that you never suddenly get to an age in which like you don't get your feelings hurt when people say certain things, or nothing makes you mad. Like that is the result of inner work. And you know, there, I say at the end of every episode that practice makes progress, because practice makes progress for a reason. You have to be exposed to certain situations that might have made you react a certain way, so you can practice reacting in a different way. Okay. And so okay, so then the next thing, I was trying to do this without my notes, but I just okay, yeah, so talking about exposure, right? So the example that I gave was with a certain person, right? But the triggers, as y'all know, right, it could be like emotions, it could be certain like obstacles, finances, right? And so there's a difference between like comforting yourself and enabling yourself. And so, you know, I titled this episode, Your Hiding is Hurting You, because I wanted us to be really mindful of where we were hiding when we're hurting, right? So going back to the example of like difference between comforting and enabling. So there's a difference between being someone who's like, you know what, at the end of a long day, I like to just have a glass of wine and unwind and relax, right? There's a difference between that and then like, you know, it's 11 o'clock in the morning and you're in a meeting and someone's calling you out your name and saying all this stuff, and you're just like, man, I cannot wait to have that glass of wine. And all day you're going through the office thinking about how nice it's gonna be when you have that glass of wine, and then by the time you get home, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna make it 3 glasses of wine because it was a tough day and I deserve that. You see what I mean? There's a difference because you're hiding. You're so stressed out that you need this chemical substance to calm you down. Like, and that's just, I said wine, but it's the same thing for weed. Weed heads don't come for me. Like, we'll talk more about plant medicine in another episode. I'm not against weed, but I know many people in my life who have used it as an unhealthy coping mechanism. And so I'm throwing that out there. We're going to talk about this eventually. Don't come for me. Weed's great. It's legal where I'm at. Anyway, but so it's like there's a difference between enjoying something and using something to relax and recreational and using something as a clutch. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing for intimacy. There's a difference between like wanting to enjoy your sacred sensuality and like needing to physically connect with someone in order to feel okay. Those are differences. And so we all have places where we hide. We all have coping mechanisms. It could be overeating. It could be watching way too much TV or eating, I said overeating, video games or whatever. And so like in those times where like, you know, going back to the example of the 1 glass of wine compared to 3, in that time, like it would have been better to meditate and to sit with it, right? So like a lot of people talk about, it's like, oh, I wanted to meditate, but I was too upset. And something that one of my first mentors told me years ago is that like those times when you don't want to meditate are the times when you need to the most, right? And so I'm not saying, and like that could be a meditation, that could be a prayer, that could be as simple as taking 5 deep breaths, right? But like it can be so easy to be like, I'm too worked up to do this, but that's when you need to do it. And the prayer, it doesn't have to be anything like super glamorous or glorious at the time. Like you could literally just say like, I'm pissed right now, I don't want to feel like this, like get this off of me. And we'll be talking more about prayer in another episode, so like definitely stay tuned. But yeah, so there's like, it's just so important to sit with those things and identify it. And a meditation technique that I learned like early on into my like studying of Buddhism and everything is to do a meditation with your eyes closed and envision the thing, like think about that thing that's hurting you, whether it's a stressful conversation, an obstacle, a fear, an emotion, and sit with it and find out where it is in your body. And if you're like patient enough with yourself, you'll find it. Like for me, and I talk about this with y'all all the time, it's my neck and my shoulders. Because why? For a lot of my life, I had difficulty expressing myself, my throat chakra. So I felt all of this pain here. But finding out where it is in your body and then just like, you know, working on releasing it, confronting it is the only way that you're going to be able to get over your fears. Don't push it. Don't push the things you don't like. Do shadow work. And it's the same. And we could talk more about manifestation and attraction in future episodes. But it's the same things for things that you want. Like, you can't just force things to happen. You can't force people to love you. You can't force your businesses to be profitable or lucrative. Like, and again, not the topic for right now, but it's just, we have to learn how to sit with the things that make us uncomfortable so that way we can heal and grow and learn from them. Okay. And so that brings me to the journal prompts. Okay, so I thought this was so cute and clever. I'm gonna literally pat myself on the back. I'm like, damn, I really like that girl. Okay, so our prompt is, we're playing hide and seek. Okay. So the first part of the prompt is to write out the places where you would typically hide. And then the part 2 of that is to write out, what can you seek instead? So again, the prompt. When I'm feeling triggered, what are the places I typically hide? When I'm feeling triggered, where are the places I typically hide? And then part 2, what can I seek instead? Part 2, what can I seek instead? One more time. What can I seek instead? And so, very quick example, right? So example, if you hide in romantic relationships as a need to connect, then you can seek instead, how can I nurture existing relationships that I have with friends? And if I don't have a lot of friends, how can I cultivate new friendships? Does that make sense? All right. I hope you'll like in the chat I hope y'all like those prompts. I would love to hear how you felt receiving them or writing them, or just enjoying this episode. Yeah, so please let me know in the comments if you liked it. If you'd like to send me a little love donation for the energy exchange, I can be blessed via Cashapp and buy me a coffee at Boundless Divine. And yeah, that's all I have for y'all. I'm so grateful for this community that we're building. Like, I have so many just exciting things that I'm ready to just like put out with y'all, but I'm trying to be patient, but I'm just so excited. So thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your kindness. And yeah, share this if someone you think it'll help them. But yeah, I'm just really grateful to be in community with y'all. So thanks again. All right. And remember that you are good and you are worthy and you are loved. Never forget who you are, because this world needs your light. Be kind with yourself, because practice makes progress and all things come in divine time. And as you leave the space, may you go in peace, in love, in pleasure, purpose, and prosperity. In the name of love, Ashe. Peace, friends. Thank you, friends.